Hi, and welcome to Design Space Friday with Shirley Ross. Sorry I missed last week. This week we are working on my Valentine goodie box for my upcoming crop, and I wanted to make a card to go with it. So this card, just to give you the real quick instructions, is a 6 by 3 inch rectangle, score line at 3. I made a smaller 2 and 3/4 inch square to go on the inside, and then I sliced out a heart that had a shadow, a scallop shadow. So I sliced out the shadowed section of it, and then I kept the inside part of the heart. And that way, when the heart will be on the inside, and when it closes, you'll see the heart. When it opens, the heart will remain on the inside. I thought that would be kind of cute. This will actually go on the other side of the card on the inside. All right, so the box we're playing with is a box that has diagonal sides. It's really cute. I got it from the Paper Pixie YouTube channel. It just looks so cute and thought it would work. It'll hold a small, like Rocher or Nugget candy in it. It's not that big. It might look like it, but it's not that big. So I went ahead and brought in part of it, and I started with a rectangle, and it is 4.5 by 6.5. And I went ahead and put in the first two score lines, which are these two score lines, and the first score line will be at 1 and 2.5. The second score line will be at 4 and 1. So that gives you 1.5, 1.5, and 1.5. So let's bring in the next score line, and let's turn that off. And then this road, we're going to rotate this one 90 degrees. We're going to do 90. Let's undo what we already did. Undo one more time so that when we do the 90, we know it's going 90. There we go. So let's delete that 90. There, we got it that time. So we're going to start with the top, and the top one is going to go at, always get that backwards, at 1 and 1.5. And we are going to make the length of this one 4.5. All right, so we have that first line in. So then we're going to duplicate that. And this time we are going to put it at 1 and the 3. And then we're going to duplicate that. And we're going to put it at the 1 and the 4.5. And then we'll duplicate that. This time at 1 and 6. So that's all of your lines going down. Now there's a lot of things that are going to start happening in the other parts. But at least your score lines are in. So now we'll bring in another square. Turn that off. And then this time we're going to, again, make this square a rectangle. And we're going to take out the wings here. So we're going to need a 1 inch wide by 0.5. And that's going to take out all but this little 1/2 by 1/2 flap that we're going to have. And let's go ahead and duplicate it and put one on the other side. And it's going to go at 4.5 by 1. So now we have our two corners. So we can go ahead and cut those out. And select the first one, then hold the shift key and click on the large piece. And that's sliced out. And we'll delete those. And then we'll arrange this to the back. And then we'll select that small piece and hold the big one and slice that out. And arrange it back. All right, so now we have those. Then we're going to go ahead and take out these pieces here so that we just have these 1/2 inch by 1.5 inch wing sides so that when that's what you're going to attach to make your box. So let's go ahead and bring in another square. Toggle that off, and let's go ahead and make it. This time we're going to make it 1 point. We're still going to keep it at 1, but we're going to make it 1.5. But make sure you unlock it. Good tip. All right, so then we are going to move it to 1, and we want to skip 1 because 1's going to be for the diagonal. So we are going to move it down 1, and that's going to be at 3. So then we're going to duplicate that and take it across, and this time it is going to be at 4.5, I believe. Yep, and 3. And then we'll duplicate that. You can see that was this section here, and then the next one's going to go all the way to the bottom. So you know we're going to need it at 1 and 6, and duplicate that. And we're going to need it at 4.5, and we're going to need it at 6. So now we have all 4 of those in, and now we want to start to delete our slice. So we have 1 selected, and then we're going to select the large piece and slice. And delete that and that. Arrange this to the back. And we're going to select the small piece and that, and slice it out. And then we're going to arrange it to the back. And this is just repetition, 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 which is always a good way to learn. I find in Design Space, the more often you do something, the easier it is for you to recall it. I take the little one, and then this is the last one of these. And I didn't get the white piece. I got a score line. There we go. If slice doesn't come open, then you know you do not have 2 pieces that can be sliced. And then we're going to arrange it to the back. Okay, so now we have those, and eventually we'll come in and make these score lines that are in the center smaller and put cut lines on each side. I just wanted the score lines there so while I was working with each of the parts. Now the next part is going to be making these winged areas here. So we're going to bring in a triangle. We're going to close that off. All right, and this time we are going to flip the triangle that way. All right, now what we're going to want to do is, I know it's 1.5 this way, but we want it to be 2 inches wide. So first thing we're going to do is unlock it. We're going to make it 2 inches by 1.5, and then we are going to put it in just like we did when we were putting in the other pieces. So what we're going to do is we are going to in a minute, my brain's going to come back. We're going to put this one over here. We may have to move this piece over some. We will find out in a minute if it's going to fit in there. So we are going to put it at 0, I believe. Yep, it's going to fit. Looks like it anyway. And we are going to put it at 1.5. All right, let's see if that's... Got it. So it comes here, you see that, and then you see it cut straight up here, and then you have this piece. So that's exactly where we want it. So we will duplicate the next one, and we will put it down here. So we know we want it at 4.5. We want it at 0 and 4.5. And let's put it at 4.5 and not 45. And then let's duplicate and put them on the other side. And this time we are going to want to put them at 4.5 and at 4, and need it to be at 4.5. There we go. And duplicate. And this one is going to be at 4.5, and it's going to be at 1.5. Okay, so now we have all of them in, and now again we just want to start slicing. So we've already selected one, so let's shift and select that, the large piece, and then we're going to slice it out. And you're going to have lots of pieces. And then we are going to arrange it to the back, and then just keep continuing to take out the wings, as I want to call them. And then that one I'm going to delete and delete, and one more time delete, and then again select and slice and delete. You can't see the delete red button, so I'm just using the delete button on the keyboard. Just make sure you've selected what you want. Let's arrange that to the back. There we go, so we can select that easier. All right, and then the last one, just cut out. And there we go. And now we have what looks like pretty much the same there as far as the basic outline goes. Now we are going to play with some cut lines and score lines. So we already talked about this being 1.5. So we're going to change that to 1.5. And then what we're going to do is to move it to, we want to leave it at the 1.5. So we want to move this one to 2.5. So you can see it goes right in there. So we're going to do the same thing with this one and make it 1.5. And we are going to move it to, we'll leave it at the 3. So we want to put it at 2.5. We want to leave it where it's at as far as the Y. We just want to change the X so that it is no longer positioned at 1, but positioned at 2.5. So then it just looks like a ladder going down the center. And again, one last one. We'll make it 1.5. And again, we are going to move it to 2.5. Yep. Did that one backwards. Okay. This one needs to be at 2.5. And we needed to leave that one alone. Okay. So now we have the center pieces going. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do a cut line. So we can just duplicate one of those. And now the cut lines are just going to be 1/2 inch. And we're going to skip this one. And then what we do here, we'll also do here. So what we're going to do is to take this one and make it 0.5. And we're going to put it at 2 and 1.5. And there it goes. And duplicate that. And this time we're going to put it at 4 and 1.5. So now we have those two. But let's go ahead and, I didn't do that before I duplicated. Let's go ahead and make it a cut line. And then let's make this one a cut line. So now when we duplicate them, we'll be duplicating cut lines and not score lines. All right, so now we have a cut line and a cut line. So let us duplicate this cut line. And this time we're going to move it right down below that wing. So we are going to put it at 4. And we're going to put it at 3. And then we'll duplicate it. And we are going to put it at 2. And we are going to move it up to 3. So now that one is in place. Now we're not going to do this one because we're going to do a little notch cut on it. So we need to do the next ones down at the bottom. So this one is going to go at 6. Oh, wrong one first. Sorry. This one's going to go at 2 and 6. I hope I didn't confuse you guys on that one. And then this last one is going to be at 4 and 6. Okay, so now what we have are cut lines, score lines, and a score line all the way down. And now what we're going to do is do some notching here. Now, when we did the triangle, we used a large rectangle, but what we're going to do triangle. This time what we're going to do is we're going to kind of do a little bit more flat triangle so that we can get, and so you can really play with these. So then let's flip that 90 degrees. And we can, there we go. All right, so now we can slide these in so that it will, I'm curving it a little bit so we have the slice going up, but the other line is straight. Now what we want to do is to make sure that it's at the 4 point, and it's not wanting to put it, I guess because we wiggled it. So we will just sorry, probably this one needed to be a 4. There we go. Put that one at the 4, and then this one we're not going to be able to put it at the 4.5 because it's going to be measuring from up here. So we're going to just have to kind of eyeball that to get it in there. And that looks good. And if these are not perfect when it comes up here, when you fold it up, these angles are going to come and play with the sides. And so if they still kind of stick up a little bit, then you can slice them out. However, it's nice to just have them already notched a little bit when you start. And so we will select that and duplicate it. And this time we will flip it again horizontally so that we can bring it in on the other side. And again, we should be able to get one of these on the right line. May not, because it's going to be looking at this side and not this side per se. So we will just eyeball it. It should go down just a little bit. Yeah, I think that looks good. Sometimes I do just eyeball, and then we'll duplicate again. And we will bring this one down here. And then duplicate this one again. And bring it down here. And I can tell they're not far enough down. And that one might be a little bit too much down. You want it to cover the bottom line, so when it cuts out, it's going to cut out the whole piece and not leave a little sliver at the bottom. All right, so then we will hold that and shift and grab that and slice it. And let's see if we got that straight. There we go. And then we'll arrange that to the back so we can see how well it did. That's good. All right. And slice. And delete. And delete. And delete. That looks good. Now we'll grab that one. Let's move that to the back. So we can grab these little ones here. And shift and slice. And delete, and delete, and delete. There you go. And one more time. Arrange it to the back. Like the little piece and then the big piece. And slice. And delete, and delete, and delete. All right, so now we're going to arrange this to the back so that you can see the score lines and see how they match up. And then all you have to do is once it's done and you have all your cut lines and your score lines, you just select and attach. And that's it. Now the little box is done the same, but it's just smaller. So I'm not going to do that with you today because this is getting to be a little bit long, but you got to see how to work with the creating the wings part of it. I think that's really what you needed to see. This is just going to be, let me ungroup it so I can give you the measurements. Okay, and this one is, I have to say it's a little bit smaller, so I did kind of try to give it the 1/8 of an inch because it needs to be a little bit smaller than this one. So it's a bit smaller than the 4.5 by 4.5 so that it will fit inside the other box. So you just make a smaller box, and then you just do as we did on this one and put your score lines and your score lines, and you finish it up. What I will do next week is do the bottom part for you with you so that you can get the bottom piece done. Thank you very much.